All right, all right. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Word on the Ave. I am Corey Gilmore. I got my folks with me, Randy Anderson, Lauren Jones. Back with another great episode for you. Something to help educate. Something we can, help you keep your eyes open on what's going on out here. Try to give you something different on this podcast, other than, what we normally fed. So let's get into it. Y'all want to say something to the people before we get it started?
Greetings.
It's been a minute, I know. But if you know, you know.
Oh, good. Okay, so let's get into it. Let me get this shared and we're going to talk about it. So our first topic of the day, let me get this shared real quick. That's my voice. All right, our first topic is the Illinois. So did y'all hear about that Illinois reparation program? It was probably months ago when they implemented it. Mm-hmm. Y'all know about that? Y'all aware of it?
Yeah, I was aware a little bit of it, yeah.
What about you, Lauren?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if y'all don't know, Illinois had they found a little system. I was actually informed of this at work. Well, one of the managers that said something to me about that. So, hey, did you hear about that? They got a reparations program. And I was like, oh, word. And then I kind of looked it up afterwards. But, you were telling me they're using marijuana tax, all around the country. More states are starting to make marijuana legal, as they should. Should do it with all drugs. But, yeah, they're making marijuana legal. And in Evanston, Illinois, I think it's a little suburb outside of Chicago, probably about hold on, let me get this camera on. Probably about I'm not going to say the time. It's right outside of Chicago, though. They said north of Chicago. And that was what they brought to the table. Used the sale tax and start paying out reparations to the people in the city, to make up for, I don't think necessarily what's happened to Black people in America, but in that city in particular, which is, what happened there is what happened in a lot of places, the different laws, namely redlining, that's what they stated. But so let's talk about it. But so they had a program that's supposed to pay out, I believe it was about $10 billion. I forget it's in this article right here. I'll share the screen, but it was $10 billion over a period of time. It's supposed to pay, cash benefits to the residents, but it's hit a little snag that's got, people talking. It's got a couple. The citizens, Black people there aren't satisfied with what they've been given, but then also you have other groups that are claiming that that this movement is divisive and it's discriminatory. So it's got a lot that's going on with it. So we'll get into it and discern this information. So let me share my screen. So this is coming from the U.S. Sun. Not benefiting me. Black Americans are getting $25,000 in slavery reparations, but residents are calling the money fake restitution. The first U.S. city to introduce slavery reparations is facing backlash from Black residents who have blasted the $25,000 payments as fake restitution and claimed it's not benefiting me. So, 25,000, that sounds like something right there, right? You can make something happen. Master P got his record label going off of $10,000. You can make a lot of stuff happen with $25,000.
Let's be clear. 25,000 back then, yeah. Now, not really.
You can make something happen. You can get equipment, something.
the few, and I'll just say the few. I'm not gonna say the many, but the few. But continue. My bad.
What you mean the few? I mean, what you mean? A few people? You know, you gonna have the people who are gonna do bonehead stuff or think they got money and throw it away. But folks who are trying to put it towards something, you can make some stuff happen.
I mean, we seen. I don't know if y'all seen an article. That was this week where the dude that won $30,000 and spent $20,000
on the chain. Yeah, you of course you're gonna have them Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Or so you gonna have that stupid. You gonna have that stupid, stupid crap, man. But
the 25,000. Wow, that's just in a month payment, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's what I'm figuring.
Sure. We gonna get into it. I think it might have been a one-time payment. I didn't get that. Detail. But let's get into it. Evanston, Illinois voted in March to approve the first slavery reparations system for Black residents in a $400,000 program that was expected to be a blueprint for the rest of the country. And also, I think California, that fool over there in California, what's his name? Newsom.
Governor Newsom.
Governor Newsom. He's proposed the program, which like I said, I don't got a problem with. I like that. But I'm not saying he's a fool for any of that. But if you know like his policies, he's a damn fool, which has a lot of Californians fleeing the city. Okay, let's continue on. Yet the program has been criticized for being focused on allowing 16 Black people to receive $25,000 payments that can only be put toward housing. So this is just in the early stages. So we're in the early stages. It's in total, I believe it's supposed to be 10 billion, if I remember right. I think it says it in the article also, but I think it's supposed to be a $10 billion thing. But this is just the early stages, and they're using 400,000 to test it out. But as you see right there, only put toward housing. Opponents to the program have noted that there are 12,500 Black people in the city, which is located north of downtown Chicago, many of whom have been victims or the descendants of victims of discriminatory housing practices. Black residents in the city were formerly subject to redlining, a practice through which banks refused housing loans to predominantly Black neighborhoods. It kept Black communities from home ownership, a key source of wealth. Yet Evanston's focus on housing has caused the program to be slammed as a housing voucher program and not reparations. Calling it that does more harm than good, authors A. Kirsten Mullen and William Darity Jr. wrote in an opinion piece for the Washington Post. They added to NBC that true reparations can only come from the federal government and that local programs cannot meet the bill. I have a problem. I don't agree with that, but we'll keep getting into it. Well, no, let's stop right there. Do y'all agree with that statement right there? That true reparations can come only from federal government and that local programs cannot meet the bill.
Yep.
You think so? I think that's an inaccurate statement. I think that at the best, it could only happen through local programs, because at the best, if you operate it, through, some type of voting, if you levy it through some type of voting system or something, it's something, the federal, first of all, there's nothing, what can really be done federally? How can they really dispense, and disperse different things federally, especially, anything that they're dealing with is they're dealing with our money to begin, they're dealing with everybody's money to begin with. But, like, how would they even be able to make that happen? Also, I believe that the best way to disperse reparations would be, divided. You got to leave the government out of that. All them folks, if you have enough people who you have a bunch of companies who have pledged, their allegiance, they're out putting the Black Lives Matter, they've gotten into the whole woke thing, and they claim to have their ears open to what Black people are saying. So why don't you pressure a lot of these big corporations, not even just corporations, but hell, white folks that feel guilty. The white folks that got that white guilt and everything, and they want to, be an ally. That'd be, I think
my perspective is from the actual mandating of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that if you give individual states all the power and control, all you gonna do is, if I'm a Black person and I believe that I'm owed reparations, I guess I gotta move. Is what you're saying? I gotta move now to get the reparations. Is what you're saying?
Point.
So if you're a white person,
no, Black person.
Basically,
Black person, but it's only mandated in certain cities and certain states.
Right.
Are you saying now that you just, like, if I'm a Black person and I want those reparations, I literally have to pack up my home and move there?
Right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you'd have to prove, residence and different things.
Yeah, but I'm saying though, like even when you're talking about proving like residency, even if you proving like being Black, I mean, let's be honest, because it still bodes the same. If you don't do it on a federal level, then basically what you're saying is that Black people are going to have to find the places that are providing these reparations, the dollars, the reparations funding, that Black people have to move there in order to receive their funding. So now you're forcing us to do it your way. Okay. If you don't do it federally, you're forcing us to do it your way, which is we're gonna move you. We're gonna pick and choose where we think, or where we are going to disperse these funds. And if you don't live there, then you don't get shit.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I feel like it does have to be mandated federally. Otherwise, you gonna move out Black people to, certain states, certain cities? Is that what you're saying?
My only problem is when it comes to, because the federal government doesn't have any money. So once again, it's gonna create, you just can't. I'm a proponent of not even having government, dealing with that stuff and dealing with funds at all, because all they're gonna do, these folks aren't no righteous people, so all they're gonna do is they're gonna siphon the money another way possible. Because you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars that are owed.
I do not disagree with you in any stretch of the imagination that it shouldn't be, but when again, it just goes back to that common sense thought, which is if only certain places are going to have this funding, it actually provides a level of control, right? I mean, there's already in this article, it's already talking about one level of control. Now you add another layer by saying, and of course the decision is up to the individuals, but on if they want to partake in it, but you're adding another layer of control over the situation.
Yeah. You're definitely right. Yeah, it's a complicated situation.
We ain't getting it anyway.
Huh?
We ain't getting it anyway.
Yeah, they not passing. If anything, this would be the only way that it happens. The federal government ain't about to give out, man. We've been fighting for that for decades upon decades, man. Them fools they've had conversations, they bring out these little, pointless conversations that they have. Let's have an examination, that whole SB 40 bill that's supposed to be an examination on reparations and all that crap. They've been having examinations for decades after decades after decades.
All we got to do is look at literally what just happened with the pandemic and all the stimulus money, whatever. $2,000 or $150 and then $2,000.
Yeah,
allegedly was $2,000. You know what I mean? Like, all the money that went to all these little bitty hole in the wall, little saving the museums and all this other stuff, that could have went to people. But I'm just an average guy. That's I don't know what I'm talking about.
So let's continue this part. So Black residents, and this is what you were just talking about. This is the main part of the conversation. What we're talking about is Black residents also believe that the program places too many restrictions on how the money can be spent. It excludes renters as it's only for current and future homeowners, NBC explains. And Black residents who receive the money will still fall short of a down payment on a home in the city where average prices are currently above $400,000. Seeing bold letters did not benefit me or mine. So residents have also pointed out that the funds will eventually go to the benefit of the banks and the real estate companies that were previously guilty of the discriminatory practices the program is trying to make amends for. That is 100% correct. The beneficiaries of this program would be those who initially did the harm, the redlining here in Evanston, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So there's that. And then I want to show you the other side. Okay, here it is right here. Perfect. The program is also facing a potential legal battle from the other side as conservative activists zero in on the city in an attempt to prevent more widespread reparation plans from being introduced nationwide. This is a group race-based benefit based on tenuous historical analysis, Judicial Watch President Tom Quinton said. It's an extremist program. Black residents have even welcomed the intervention of the conservative groups, as while they say that the intention behind them is not a good thing, it might deliver to us what we want to do, which is stop them in their tracks. The reparation pay,
Can I speak on that right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tom Fitton. That's his name. Tom Fitton. He can go to hell.
Yeah.
The question that I would ask him is, you gave it to everybody else, so why not us? You've given it to everybody else, so how can you say that?
Well, you don't even need to. I mean, even with that, you don't even have to. You don't even have to introduce that, because you don't even have to introduce that. I mean, you could just, when you're talking about repairs, you're talking about, cities that actually went out of their way to derail somebody based off of the color of their skin and different things like that, and knowingly, they know that this would affect, future generations and different things like that. So that's just a given, that when you make a mess, when you destroy something to somebody, you got to make it right. And so these crazy arguments, and I don't think it says it in this article, but I read it before, where they talking about, that same old narrative that they keep talking about. It all it does is create, dependency and, people having their hand out, basically. Well, that's not what it is. It's not something, if anything, a lot of the different stuff that's been proposed and, all the, just free money, and different, systems that have been out there before, the welfare system, which I don't entirely have a problem with. Matter of fact, there's a lot more things that are wrong and a lot more wasteful money than the welfare system, but it has been positioned in a way to, make poor people dependent on, or allow them to, be able to just eat off the system and not be productive in this society. And then, and then have the consequences come from that, the different consequences that come from that. But this is not that. You got to pay people. And like it says right there, residents are also eligible if they're a direct descendant of someone who, suffered housing discrimination. So it does look, a lot of it is focused on housing, but so that seems to be where they're putting their focus on. But I mean, you got to let people do what they want to do. You got to give people the money. If anything, just all this talk about, all they're gonna do is, put it back. And you've heard Negroes say this before too, right? All they're gonna do is give it back to the white man and stuff like that, and they gonna buy this and that. You remember the Dave Chappelle skit? Well, I mean, if that's what it is, that's what it is. But the object is, and what this whole, what economics and all of this is about, is to give your descendants a fighting chance. So when the time comes, they can at least say, well, I had the opportunity, whether they want to acknowledge that or not. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people today that have the opportunity to do a lot of different things, but they squander, just like you said, the guy who wins $30,000 in lottery, but he decides he wants to buy a chain. Now that's different from just being, because we talk about financial illiteracy. That's not financial illiteracy. That's just plain out stupidity, and I can't control myself, and I still have childish wants. So I want to get what I want. You know what I'm saying? I want to get what I want. Kind of like a kid that, he goes, cuts grass, and the first thing he does is go buy he cuts about three grasses, spend all day, cut 3 grasses all day, and then he buys a video game. Ain't nothing wrong with that, spend a $60, $70 video game, but of course, a kid doesn't have responsibilities, so they can be able to waste it on that. But it's not a need, it's a want. That's not financial illiteracy. Financial illiteracy is having that money and not knowing what avenues I can do. Where can I put this money? How can I invest this? What things can I buy? You know what I'm saying? That can, put me in a position where I can generate more money, or, how can I get it in this business right here? And so, those are different things. But like I said, what you want is you want the opportunity to be able to make something happen. And, $25,000, that can go a long way. Like I said, people, I know it was, 25 years ago, but that's still, $10,000, even if, come to rap, whatever you want to do, you can make some stuff happen. You can invest and make some things happen, especially in this day and age when, even when you're just talking about rapping, there's a lot of things you can do. And when you got the internet and you can network with different things and, pay for different services to help get your content put out there. My brother-in-law who I work with on the food truck, he paid $22,000. He invested $22,000 in getting this food truck going. You know what I'm saying? And he's making that money, you know what I'm saying? He's got all that money back and he's making more. And you know what I'm saying? He's got financial freedom. He goes out there and gets the money. He has a product, and, and people have a demand for it. So they make that, they make that trade-off. Financial freedom, $22,000 right there. That's how you make the different things happen. So, but to tell people what to do with the money, and like you said, all it's gonna do, because they're putting down they're putting down payments on loans and different things like that. All it's gonna do is just end up right into those same people's hands. Those banks, those same lenders. Going to end up in their hands, and and it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't fix anything. The whole idea of reparations, there should be no, and y'all can cut in and say what y'all want to say afterwards, but the whole idea of reparations, like I said, all of this about a money thing is to let people do what they got to do. Let people do what they got to do and just give them a fighting chance to be able to work that money and manipulate that money in a way to where they can improve their lifestyle. It's just like when you talk about the PPP loans and when I talk about how, when they were shutting down these businesses and they actually, like it says in the 5th Amendment, that they owe, and they're supposed to owe and give, give people the money that whatever they needed, take care of their cost of living. If it comes down to the point to where you want to shut down a person's business, you have to compensate that. And so you got to compensate that however way that, they see. they see fit. You got to give them that money, and they do what they got to do with that money. Now, if they decide that they want to take that money and now, because they understand they have employees they got to pay, and that was a condition of the PPP loan. You still had to cover different business costs and different things like that, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be do what you got to do with the money. Now, if you decide you don't want to pay your employees, you got to deal. You got to deal with that. You're going to deal with employees quitting, or you're going to deal with some damn lawsuits because you're breaking contracts and different things like that. But it never should have came to you do this and you cover this. And if you don't fulfill this obligation, then you have to pay the money back. That's not how it works, because that's not what it, just based off what it says in the law books, that's not how it works. So it's the same thing. You got to let people do what they got to do. Y'all want to chime in?
Go ahead, Randy.
Nah, you go ahead.
So let me ask a question, and I'm just asking because something wrong with my brain. So if I read that article right, it said that did it say 10 billion or $10 million plan? 10
million. Yeah, I was thinking it was 10. I was thinking it was 10 billion,
10.
But yeah, it is $10 million. So that's not even a lot of money.
Okay, so
from where.
Let me ask you. I know you talked about how the money was gonna funnel, right?
Yeah.
Now this article made reference to that there were 12,500 black people in this town.
Yeah.
So if you pay every black person $25,000, and I'm assuming that population includes like children, but
yeah,
if you paid every resident, we're just gonna go just numbers. If you paid every resident $12,500, that would be $312 million. So where's the rest of the money coming from?
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, and that's why I was thinking, because I was thinking 10 billion. I thought I had read 10 billion, but yeah, when I looked at that right there and it say 10 million, I thought I'm not, what am I saying? I said 10 billion, but I'm looking at that and say 10 million. What's that out of?
Pull that article back up if you don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, that's not even that much more. That's about, so it's 400,000. They're going to 10 million, about 20 times or so.
Look at this, though. This is what's very interesting. To qualify, residents must have lived in Evanston between 1919 and 1969.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Randy, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I'm about. I was reading the second.
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. Well, so that basically just squeezed out a lot of people.
Yep.
That squeezed out more than half of that.
Lauren, you still there? Did he drop?
I think so.
Oh, lost signal.
Presidential.
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Still here.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah. So that cuts it down. That cuts it down by a lot. And majority of those people are dead. Dead already.
Exactly, yeah. So
I'm not on board.
It's not even. Yeah, this is wild.
I'm not on board anymore. Like if you just do the math, man, that's like the numbers don't even add up. Like, and I mean, so 1969. So that person is going to be in their early 50s, basically.
Yeah.
Or older, right? I want to make the fair assumption, and I could be wrong. We're gonna make the fair assumption that these people either already have houses or they're dead. Like,
oh, wait a minute, my bad. But right under it though, it does say residents are also eligible if they're a direct descendant of someone who suffered it. So we'd have to say that's what kids, grandchildren.
Yeah.
But still, how many of those kids and grandchildren will actually live there and not move away?
I mean, but
guess,
still, that wouldn't affect it, because if you're still able to prove,
because they live there at some point.
Yeah. So if you're still able to prove that, you know, that you had a relative that was there within that time period, you qualify. I mean, I believe you might, you know, more than likely you're gonna have to move back to that area, but yeah.
So where's the and I think another question that has to be asked is how is this debt being housed, right? Because it's saying that the fund was raised from a 3% tax of the sale of recreational marijuana.
Yeah.
So I highly doubt, and I could be wrong again, but I highly doubt that in 1 year that they will make $10 million.
Oh yeah.
Off of recreational marijuana. So let's say everybody came to the table at the same time and was like, I want my 25. Where is that money coming from?
Yeah.
Where is that money coming from? So let me hold up. I've been working on this. I'm trying to be better about this. Let me sandwich this, okay? Kudos to Evanston for trying. Kudos to them for trying, okay? I will give them kudos for that. I don't think it was well thought out. I think that they were trying to figure out a way to be better, to do better. So I'll give them kudos for that. But I think that it just wasn't thought out well enough. And this is the problem with the whole reparations discussion, whether you're talking about it on a local level or you're talking about it on a national level, it's just not well thought out, you know. And when it comes down to the come down, I think we can all sit here on this panel and be 100% transparent and say Black people as a generality would fuck up any reparation that was coming to them anyway. Like it's not going to be used to build anything. It's going to be used to for a handful of Black people to gain some more wealth, and then the rest of them gonna trick it off until it's gone.
Yeah. You know? But I mean, like I said, that's something.
And it doesn't matter. Like, if everybody getting 25 and spend your 25, like there shouldn't be stipulations on how the money is spent. However, and I will say very clearly, however, if somebody else is giving you the money, there's gonna be rules to the money. It's not like you made the 25,000. Somebody still has to give it to you. You know, you didn't earn it. You know, quote, air quotes, you didn't earn it, and so somebody has to give you that money. And I just feel like that's the biggest argument from anybody. It would be my argument if I was on the other side. Like if I don't have control over how the money is spent, hell, I don't want to give you no goddamn money. Because that money has to come from somewhere else, right? And that somewhere else, it just doesn't work like that. When anybody gives you money that you haven't earned, it's gonna come with the stipulation. It's gonna come with the stipulation. Like reparations is gonna end up being a loan. That's what it's gonna end up being. It's gonna be a loan program for Black people. You know what I'm saying? You know, there is no Black leadership out there right now, economically speaking, that would be able to galvanize Black people to be like, hey, I know y'all all getting this money. Let's pull our money together and literally go buy out the block. Like all these neighborhoods that we live in, let's pull our money together, go buy them from whoever owns it, and buy our blocks back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Let me be clear. You know what I'm saying? Somebody want to give me a check. You know what I'm saying, for reparations. I will gladly take the money. I will gladly take, but I would also do something with it that would be worthwhile. But I think I'm in a small percent of the population that would happen with. Number one, you know, and again, you know, you talked about financial literacy. There are a ton of people in general, just in general. I'm not even gonna say black people, but just in general that are financial illiterate. They just are. You know, so most people that get a big check like this, I mean, look at people that get income tax. Does that income tax go to anything that's built for later? Nah, it's taking care of the right now. So you give black people reparations, it's gonna take care of the right now. People gonna pay off some bills, you know what I'm saying? Then they gonna have some extra money, so somebody gonna go out and get some cars, some clothes, some chains, you know. Instead of making, you know, logical, sound financial decisions. And so I'm telling you right now, reparations will never happen for black people. It will never happen for black people. We are better off trying to figure out a way to pull our own resources together to begin to make moves, because it's just not gonna happen. They're not gonna give it to us. Like, and I'm gonna tell you why. Why the hell America doesn't feel like they have to apologize for slavery. That's why all of this new information is coming out regarding what slavery really was. Well, you know, like there's an article out there that my wife was sharing with me about George Washington, about how George Washington really didn't want slaves, but his wife had money and she convinced him that bringing in slaves to help grow their life exponentially would benefit them. And so he was like, and on top of that, he was like, I have other things that I want to fight. This ain't my fight. So the first president of the goddamn United States was like, you know what? Even if I believe that all people are equal, I don't have enough people that would support me, so I'm not going to fight it. So America's never going to apologize for slavery. They're just not going to do it. They're going to find ways around it to say, hey, man, you know what? I mean, they throw it in our faces, where they be like, you know what? It was a business move. We need
apologize verbally, because they've apologized verbally. I think most of their actions and most of their pandering shows a verbal apology.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than words, man.
Yeah.
Do you know how many marriages end on, you know, your apology didn't mean anything to me. You never changed. Your actions never changed. You know, so
or you didn't make what's right. You know what I'm saying? Because they gotta make what's right, because it's not just a matter of just, you know, we gonna change our ways and different things like that. Because in many ways there have been a lot of different changes, and in many ways, you know, they're doing these little, like I said, it's been a whole lot of pandering, but it's understood that, you know, the head start's already been set. Mm-hmm. And you've already set a people at, you know, set them in the bottom cast position, and already implemented everything that you needed, all your mechanics, everything that you needed to do, from the education, from, you know, affecting them economically, from, you know, what they see on their television. You've already put everything in place to keep people within that position. And still, you know, and don't get it wrong, there's a lot of black folks prospering. There's a lot more than what we even think. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. There's a lot that are prospering. There's a lot that are doing well. But
the definition of success is different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, the definition of success is different for everybody, and so you can't just look at the financial side of it. You know, as far as is this person successful or not. That's just a barometer. Basically, that's one barometer.
Well, let me say, it is. Yeah, because that is subjective, and what could be moved as prosper. Because as a whole, when you talk about black people, white people, Asians, a lot of different people. When it comes to putting yourself in a position to where you can just, where you just good no matter what, man, there's the majority of the country struggling. So I think what I meant was probably, I think what I meant in that sense is, Black people moving toward middle class and moving out of the poverty line, because they try to make it as if, all Black people are in poverty and stuff like that. And it's not like that. The majority, for the most part, the majority are move beyond that.
Yeah, because let's be honest, right? When Dr. King and Malcolm X were really truly fighting for Black equality, right? You know what? Y'all do what y'all do. Y'all say what y'all say. We'll put roadblocks here and there, but y'all do what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? When they started to look at all poor people, not just Black people, but they started looking at all poor people, that's when the government was like, "Ooh, we gotta pump the brakes on this. We gotta pump the brakes on this." Same with the Black Panther Party. Hey, you do what you want to do for Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Fight, do what you do. But when he went to the Hispanic communities and got the essays and was like, "Hey, man, this shit ain't working." When he went and talked to the alternative white groups, what happened? Whoa, we gotta pump the brakes on this. We gotta pump the brakes on this. And so, you have to be very, like, Black people don't know how to ask for anything, right? And we don't know how to be patient to wait to get it, more so. We don't know how to ask, and we can't be patient enough to wait for it. That's why we keep taking handouts. You know what I'm saying? That's why we keep taking, 25,000 instead of waiting to get your 250,000 or your 2.5 million, because we can't be patient enough to wait. We need it right now.
Let me ask you this: do you believe that we're past the point that where we can move as a monolith? Well, not in a monolithic way. Nothing will ever be. Nobody moves as a monolith. Sure. But you know what I'm saying?
I do not. Yeah, what I do believe, though, and this is what I do believe, is that it can't be synonymous across the board, right? It can't be synonymous across the board. What works for the goose in that case does not necessarily work for the gander. And so you have to have an open mind about looking at Black people in general and not putting us in these boxes, because that's what gets us to this reparations conversation, and it allows us to be put into a box, and so I believe that we can. I believe that we have to accept that it won't be the same across the board. It's gonna be a little bit different here, a little bit different there, because if you say it can be synonymous, if the plan can be synonymous, then basically what you're saying is that all Black people are the same.
Yeah,
that's essentially what you're saying. And so, and we have such a mentality of not being able to respect somebody else's success, right? We're really, really bad at that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this kind of the statement about he got a little money and moved out of moved to the suburbs. This world is huge. If I got some money, I'd move. I'd move. I go get me some land and build it out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's like a lot of that mindset. Where that's been implanted.
Sure.
That's been implanted into many people's minds.
But instead of looking at it as, okay, he got a little change and he's trying to get to higher ground. We just want he just went to the suburbs and ran away from us. Yeah, and you can't blame them.
They want somebody who's making $100,000 a year. They think they can save I'm not saying everybody think like that, but you got cats who do think like that. They think cat making $100,000 a year who they can save the whole hood, and that's not how it works. You got to be able to put yourself in a position, and then even within that, you can't save, you can't save everybody.
And see, you can't save anybody, not everybody. You can't save anybody.
Nah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? What you can do is you can be a shining example of a better, or not a better, but a different way of doing things, a different way of thinking. Because the objective is not to save, but it's really to educate and inspire, right? Look at what the capabilities are if you change up the way you move, if you change up the way you think. This is what the capabilities are. I'm not here to save you, but I am here to say, hey brother, here's an olive branch. I'm reaching down trying to pull you up. Don't pull me down. Let me pull you
exactly
up.
Exactly.
And so no, without a question, no. We there can definitely be a group think, as long as we're open to understanding that, within our own walls of color, that we are different. We have different needs, we have different goals. Like, we all don't eat chicken, watermelon, and grits 5 days a week. You know what I'm saying? Some of us eat fish. Some of us are fucking vegans. Like, we're not all the same.
Oh no, dog. I do eat.
We
not all the same. I know I eat chicken about damn at least six out of 7 days a week, man.
Do you fry it though? Do you fry it though?
You said what?
I said, but you don't fry it 6 days.
Nah, I can't fry it every day. Nah, I ain't trying to put myself in the grave.
And so, like, I'm not a health nut, right? I'm not a health nut by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really working on being a better consumer of food, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, can we get a group of black farmers or something like that to be like, you know what? We need to open up a chain of Whole Foods markets in the hood. We have to start replacing the stuff that we put into our body that's affecting our physical natures, our mental, our psychological, our emotional stability. We need to we need to figure out a way to make eating right more affordable, so that. Go ahead.
You know why that's not there? We're gonna get to the next topic here in a second, but you want to know why that's like that? Because we're doing so much catching up. We're trying to operate. We're trying to operate, within our capitalistic opportunities, and so we're trying to get as much as we can in the moment. So you already know. If I go out here and I serve these burgers, I get on that sidewalk, throw these burgers on the grill, get it smelling good, throw that seasoning up on there or whatever it is, or get that, fry my catfish and fry this and that. You look all on Facebook, you see all them good recipes, you see people out there, everybody selling some plates, food be looking good. It's drenched in cheese, man. The lobster, stuffed lobster and this and that. So they got all of that, and they know that's gonna get the crowd. That's definitely gonna get the crowd more than
yeah, absolutely,
a kale,
right,
chopped kale, chopped kale salad with a damn spinach smoothie on the side.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I agree with you. I agree with you 1000%.
Because within our place. Hold on, just one second. Because just within our placing, especially you got people who are trying to make up for where we at and what's been lost and what hasn't been provided to them. So everybody's trying to get their hustle on, especially when we at the bottom in average and medium and median in income. So people are trying to get their hustle on.
That's so true. That's so true, because when you think about stuff like, fried chicken, it's the mental in our minds. That's like a galvanizing food. You know what I'm saying? Like would you, hey man, let's all get together, you know what I'm saying, and let's link up and we gonna get a couple buckets of chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like it, in our own heads, that's a galvanizing food. Like, and I'll be honest,
it's always at the funerals.
Yeah. You know, and so, but again, you know, I mean, it comes down to the individual measures of success, right? You know, because I could open up a wings and I can open up a wing stop right now and go make a whole lot of money, but my moral compass says nah, like that's I wouldn't do that to my people if I am educated enough and I understand that that's damaging my people. Like, you know, like it's just not in my personal moral compass. I'd be like, look, if y'all want to go down the street and get y'all wings stopped, you know what I'm saying, like do your thing, you know what I'm saying, but hey, if you want something different for your life, like if you want the same shit, go with the go. You birds of a feather flock together. Go do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you want a different way of life, a different way of living, to where, you know, if you decide next week you want to take a goddamn vacation, you know, you ain't gonna come back home to a stack of bills that you gotta figure out how to pay now. You know, that's it, and so I'm understanding every day more and more that I'm okay being in that select group that's the minority. We've been called minorities our whole life, right? And you know, it's for some of us it was a badge of honor, but for people like me, I was like, fuck off. Like for real. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I looked at minor as small, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm okay with that now. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay being a part of the minority because I ain't stressed out about shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you right now, you know what I'm saying? If I get fired tomorrow, I'll be okay for a little bit. Now, will I have to go out there and get another job and get some money? Absolutely. But I will be okay. You know? And so, and you know, most people can't even say that. Most people, and I ain't even just talking about black people. I'm talking about people in general. Most people can't say that. They can't say, I'm gonna be okay if I get fired tomorrow. I'll be okay. You know what I'm saying? It's not the ideal situation, but I'll be okay. And so, you know, circling back to the topic, which is, you know, the whole reparations and, you know, the fallout and things of that nature. The fallout is because it's flawed. It's so flawed that, you know, number one, how can you ever repay somebody for that shit?
Yeah.
Like seriously, how can you ever truly repay somebody for that shit? You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. And when I think about reparations and the fact that you gotta prove that you black, fuck this is what they saying. Fuck this. You gotta show me documentation of that. They destroyed our history. You better off trying to figure out if you got some damn Cherokee Indian in your bloodline.
Yeah.
Because you might be able to find that, but they destroyed our history. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a ton of black families that don't understand the importance of history. And, you know, if I said, if you ask the average black person, can you go back 6 generations? You know, the average black person right now would be like, no.
Real.
They would be like, no, I don't, because now you're starting to embark, you know what I'm saying, on, you know, the 18th.
I'd be lucky to go back 3 generations.
Yeah, you know, and so, you know, you already know that's gonna be a part of it. You have to prove your blackness. So ain't that fucked up? Black people, we fight each other on proving our blackness, and then here comes somebody else saying, we need you to prove it over here too. Like, get out of here, man.
I mean,
if my melanin don't tell you that I'm black, there's a problem.
But I think what you're saying is the lineage. When you talk about melanin, we talking about lineage and where where you were, because that's been a question, and we've talked about it before. We're talking about ADOS and everything. That's always been a question, and a lot of people have looked at it as divisive, but it's actually something, you know, it makes a lot of sense, because in that sense, you'll just have anybody just coming over. They could be from West Bumblefuck, they could be from anywhere, Australia, but because they're black, they're saying, well, I'm entitled to reparations too. Well, you don't come from the descendants of slaves in America. You know what I'm saying? You could have came from, you know, not everybody in America came from slaves. Right. Not everybody who's from America or whatever, you know, but, you know, they've always pushed the narrative of Africa or, you know, stuff like that. But no, not everybody came from Africa. So not everybody, not all the black people here are who were even here back then when all of that was going on were descendants of slaves. But now there has, but then at the same time, there still has to be something that has to be made done because it goes even deeper than slavery. You got, you know, like I said, we get into the Jim Crow, the black codes and different things like that. So now you have to start diving into that, and, you know, even trying to assess the damage of that is, you know, damn near impossible. You know, it's damn near impossible. Now something has to be done. It has to be repaired, but, you know,
Kangaroo Jack can get his money too. I'm cool with that.
You said Kangaroo Jack.
Kangaroo Jack can get his money too.
Yeah, he said give it all. Yeah. It can't come, but like I said, when it comes to that, it can't come. I don't think it can come from the federal government. Matter of fact, I know it can't come from the federal government.
Are we talking about the money or the policy?
The actual money. Now they can enact the actual money, but the policy is going to be the money, because anywhere it's going to come from, it's only going to come from two places. It's going to come from the actual taxpayer, or it's going to come from they're going to print money off.
It's going to come from.
They're going to print money off. It's only going to come from two different places. So, and because there's nothing in reserve, you know, a lot of people think because we pay taxes every year and different stuff like that, you know, well, we getting this, well, it's our money. Well, that's not how it works. There's no money there. There's no money there when we sending this money off.
Which goes back to my point of saying we just need to kick reparations down the curb and try to figure out how we can create group things in order for us to economically prosper. Because if the money's coming from the taxpayers, it's coming from you, or the white liberals, or the white liberals. Hey, set up that fund. You know, donate to your nearest. Donate to your nearest Negro next to you. You know, all the white folks, they got that white guilt. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and break off some of that money. Break off some of that white privilege they be talking about. You know, that's what they say. What Max Kellerman say?
Yeah, he said. He said he ain't giving it up. He said, you know, y'all invite him to the cookout, but he's not giving up his white privilege.
That's all you need to know about your Caucasian liberals. That's all you need to know.
What y'all boy said before he got elected? He was like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Joey B.
Yeah.
Joey B.
Hey,
Joe Biden been saying all type of stuff. You know, that fool.
He didn't take his medicine that morning.
You know, Joe Biden is all over the place. Joe Biden's his policies, the different things that he's been, man, I've been covering a few things. In fact, I'm gonna put some videos on Grid Culture. I recorded some stuff, but man, a lot of stuff he's been doing. I mean, he's a direct reflection of Trump and policy and everything. The only thing, and what this has taught us, is everything's been about a code of personality, and a lot of times it's about who says it and how you say things, and the person who says different things, which is, you know, it's not right, but it's just a reality of how people, you know, human beings react to things. Yeah, it's politics. Yeah, it's politics. Because I mean, Joe Biden has been doing the same exact. If not, shit, might be a case. I haven't confirmed for myself, but it might be a case. He might be worse than damn Trump. Because this dude's been, he hasn't fulfilled any of his promises or anything. All right, man, let's get to this next one. Last topic.
Lukey Dookie.
Our boy, we're gonna head to the hometown, you know what I'm saying, on the turf. Now, of course, yeah, y'all guys, Randy, you in Jefferson City. Lauren, you right there. You out there in Raymore, but you basically in the hometown. I'm down here in Dallas, but we all from Kansas City. Down in the hometown, I got Quinton Lucas. I've been critical of him in the past for, different things that he's signed off on within the city limits. But like I said, a lot of those different things that it's looked more as on the residents as a whole. Now he's been getting pushback, but as the residents as a whole, as far as Black people, it's been well received. So it's become more of a racial thing. The politics of it and where people stand, a lot of times it's been put more of on a racial thing or on a made a partisan issue. And you have the media to thank for that, so, you have the media to thank for that. They've molded people within that position and basically pigeonholed everybody in those positions. But I'm rambling right now. Let's get into what the main thing we want to talk about. We want to talk about his cutting of the police budget. We've talked about this before, different police budget cuts around the country, but he announced this probably about 3 weeks ago, came out, and it's been a huge, complete uproar. You had a lot of white folks in the courthouse, and they're demanding his resignation. They want to get Quinton Lucas out of there. He's taken about, if I remember right, I'm just going off the top of my head, he's taken about $45 million out of the police budget and reallocating it toward different funds for the community. Different programs and I forget, other different things that can be used to, just basically community, reallocating it to the community, but he's taking it out the budget. The police chief in Kansas City is, talked about as this has been the conversation all around the country, as it's going to affect the men that you're going to be able to hire, just all type of different things that are, going to take place as far as policing. Now I'm going to ask, is this a good or bad thing? Now, did y'all see that video, and keep this in mind, there's still a lot of different stuff, and police overstep their boundaries, right? And that there's no contest on that. Police overstep their boundaries. You just had that video of Malcolm Johnson, they were wrestling it down. I don't know exactly where in the city that was, but they had him in the gas station. Did you see it, Randy?
That was the one on 63rd, yeah.
Well, it was on 63rd.
Yeah.
Okay. They had him in the gas station. Had about 5 or 6 police officers holding him down, and then one of the officers just decided, now you can't see what was going on, in the pile, but it don't look like any of the other police officers were reacting. It was just this one officer decided to pull out his pistol and fire shots, and ended up killing Malcolm Johnson and also hitting one of his partners. So you got that going on. So you do have tons of bad policing has been continuously been a problem, for years upon years upon years, police overreach. Let's talk about it. Now, last year in Kansas City, there was the record. Kansas City set the record for homicides. Crime is in general around the country. Well, last year, itself.
Worse.
And you talking about everybody was supposed to be locked down. Crime went up in every single major city within the country. And like I said, Kansas City set a record. Now this year they're on pace. Then it doesn't look like they're going to come anywhere close to where they were last year. I think they're at about 50 something right now.
It was 4 homicides last week.
Yeah,
it's getting hot.
As of May 23rd, they were at about, I think, 59. So
It's getting hot. That's all.
So about May 23rd, we say that's about half the year. They're on pace for about 120, 130, which is still
low.
bad.
Yeah,
Which is still
low,
bad,
though.
but you
Bad,
talking about it was almost what's that?
I said it's bad, but it's low.
Oh yeah. But it's low, especially compared to last year.
Yeah.
But like you said, in many different cities all across the country, you seeing just the not just murders, but just robberies, just everything. They're going up and they're rising.
Texas.
So,
I said Atlanta, Texas, Louisiana,
Philadelphia's been one of the main ones over there in DC. Yeah. Do you think? What do y'all think about this? And anybody, folks that are watching this, viewers, use y'all brains and think about this. What do y'all think about this? Because, like I said, this has been turned into a whole racial issue, and now you see a lot of these. Y'all understand what I'm saying when y'all understand what I'm saying when they say the media's been able to manipulate it so the way it's been received. So when you see, the majority of you like, okay, that's the way it's supposed to be, and that's a good thing. A lot of times, other than the white liberals, it's going to be black folks, and then the people that you see within the courthouse and saying, hey, this is not a good thing. I didn't see any black folks in there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see any black folks within that crowd. It was mainly white people. Matter of fact, it was all white people within that crowd. But y'all understand what I'm saying about the media plays its position in the funneling certain information to where, it causes that divide. So it makes it a racial issue, also a partisan issue. What do y'all think about Quinton Lucas's move? Is there anything that he could do as far as putting the funds in different places? Like they say, I don't think he said this, but one thing that's been brought up is the who they gonna send out for like domestic violence, like send out social workers and different things like that. Is this effective?
I thought he did say that, because that was one of the things that I heard that he allegedly said. So you said that he didn't say that, so I don't know if he said that. So I'm just.
I'm not sure. I didn't hear it in the video because I have an actual video and it's posted on the Word on the Av page. Is this beneficial, man? Like, honestly, is this gonna fix anything? Should police brutality, it's different stuff like that, because this is what it stems from. Should that be put number one over the violence that's happening in the city?
Let me address this from a not a different angle, but just food for thought. Yeah, I think that again, I'm using different language than what popular culture says. I do believe that resources need to be reevaluated or reallocated, not reevaluated. Well, actually evaluated then reallocated. I do believe that. Where the money is reallocated to, I think, is the biggest piece. If you're going to take money from here to reallocate, like that money, it needs to be useful. Now, if you just look into just Black communities as a whole, I think the number one thing, honestly, is just education, right? You have to do surgery on the Black psyche, almost, because there are programs that are needed out there. Help my program, which is, trying to rebuild and reconstruct the father. Yeah, there's absolutely like ways that money needs to be respect. Okay. Now, do you say, okay, if it's a domestic dispute, I'm gonna send a social worker out? Maybe. I think it just depends on the hostility of the situation. But I think in a lot of cases, a social worker is gonna want a level of protection as well, which is a cop. or somebody that can protect them. And so I don't think you necessarily fix all of the issues, but there is evidence out there that says that by sending someone that is not a police officer, you have a higher rate of being able to defuse the situation, because you don't have, and we're talking about in Black communities, you don't have this heightened sense, you don't have this heightened energy, because a cop shows up, and Black people, generally speaking, we don't have trust in our officers that service our communities. Now we can look back in the mirror, and we've had this conversation ad nauseum. I almost feel like if you don't like the people that are protecting your community, then you gotta go get those jobs. You can't just be like, they don't know nothing about our community. Well, if you do, then go become a cop and protect your community. Like, you can't throw your hands up, you can't point fingers. You have to activate the change that you want to see. And so it can't be all on the other side. Like, they need to fix this. It's their problem. Actually, it's our problem, And so we have to play a major role in that. But I do believe that, how the money is allocated, it definitely needs to be reviewed. And I think it needs to be reviewed on a normal basis, because I mean, if you spending monies on retirement parties, or, police galas and stuff like that, you get that shit out of there. And they do spend, some police departments do spend, enormous amounts of money on things like that, but I think it all boils down to, okay, if you're going to take money away, which, whatever, if you're going to take money away, then you have to make sure that the way that it's reallocated is going to be effective, and it's going to actually going to help you meet the goal that you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to achieve a lower percentage of violence, because violence is going to happen. You're never going to be able to eradicate all violence. But if you're going to try to lower that number, then you better hope that money that you're reallocating away from the people that you want to protect your communities is going to work. And it's not a short-term fix, right? And the reason it's not a short-term fix is because it's not just the police's problem to deal with. It's the community problem to deal with as well. So it's not a short-term fix. We have to change the way we view, the way we want our neighborhoods protected. Look at the Black dude that shoots the Black dude just as close as you look at the Black or the cop that shoots the Black dude, and you, because you can't ignore that. Now, I'm not saying that it's just Black people killing Black people, because it's not true, but most crimes happen or people that live in the same communities, right? And so you have to address those problems too. I mean, you talk about education, you talk about poverty. People rob and kill because you got what they want, and so they're gonna go get it from you. The whole territorial thing that we think is only for animals. Only cats and dogs are territorial. No, human beings are territorial as well. You know what I'm saying? So you step on their turf, you make them feel disrespected, they're going to retaliate in a certain manner as well, because of what's going on up here.
So you saying this should be with the allocated funds to teaching this to the community?
I think that you have to educate people. Like, nobody's gonna change without proper education.
This is why I asked that, but I asked that because aren't there already stuff like that around?
Yes.
And how do you even implement that? Because you have programs like that, but it's still dependent on people being compliant, the community being compliant with that program. Meaning, as in, who's gonna show up to those different things and have these conversations, or bring their cousin in who they think needs this intervention, who however it may take. But you have you have different stuff like this going on in the city. You have a lot of different stuff like this, but a lot of times, like I said, they'll put different, and it's not just meetings like that, but they'll have meetings that are beneficial and within that whole manner of trying to advance or inform the people and stuff like that. And you won't
nobody shows up.
Yeah, nobody will show up. And so
I'm not gonna disagree with that notion. I don't necessarily believe that you had the right people in place either, and I think that's part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because where do they go get black leaders from? Where do they go get black leaders from?
Well, in Kansas City, it comes from the community.
But where specifically?
What you mean?
The church.
The church.
The church.
Yeah.
We go.
Yeah, primarily. Yeah, primarily it's the church. You got some that are doing it who are going when they're taking their own initiative on doing different things. But yeah, you're right. Primarily it's the church. Yeah.
Yeah, we go to the church, and I'm just like, man, but that's on us, though. That's on us.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
That's on us. We're a faith-based community. No,
that's what I'm about to say. A lot of that, because that's something that the city itself can't change. If you sit up there and if it's you're not holding your, it's like different conversations when you say and there's nothing wrong with having faith-based and believing in believing in those different concepts, but
right.
Sometimes you may have to be like, pastor, this ain't the good time. This ain't the good time to even be implementing that.
Mm-hmm.
There should be an understanding. You want to bring people to God, but you have to meet them where they're at, and not everybody's going to believe within that concept. Even
people that believe it's not the right time all the time. Even for people that believe it's not necessarily the right time to just go straight to God this, God that, because that dependency is really what gets us in trouble, right? It's that dependency that some other entity besides ourselves is going to get us out of the situation that we're in. I don't care if you're talking about the president. I don't care if you're talking about the pastor. I don't care if you're talking about God. You look at those. They're gonna get me out of. They're gonna get me out of my situation. No, you are responsible for getting yourself out of your situation. It's not their responsibility. It's your responsibility to get yourself out of the situation. Now, with that being said, there has to be a level of leadership, effective leadership, that wants to go out there and provide the assistance needed to be a guide, not a god, but a guide, a guiding force to help people get out of, their situations up here. Because you never change a person until you change their mentality. You never change a person until you change the way that they think and they process information. And so, circling back to this whole conversation about the funding being removed and things of that nature, I do think it was necessary. Where it goes is what will ultimately be the deciding factor on whether or not that was the right way to reallocate those funds. But to reallocate funds, absolutely, there's a lot of money that's being spent in the police force that isn't necessarily utilized for anything that actually is gonna do anything. The biggest expense, the only thing I care about, and this is the only thing I care about when it comes to the police and shit, and this is kind of a jaded, and it's not even a full thing, but I just salary. Like, they need to be paid. They need to be paid. They're out there canvassing, protecting, neighborhoods. They need to be paid.
Underpaid.
We spend we spend $200 on a pair of Jordans, but we wouldn't spend $200 on security to keep ourselves safe.
Yeah.
That's because people think that the whole thought process that security makes you soft. You know what I mean? For like, just like if it was me and you and we were working out there and it's like, oh, why y'all got security? You scared or something? You know what I mean? You a whole bitch or something like that, and then you questioning some dude's manhood or whatever. Or
I don't think it's like, I don't think that it's like that. Because everybody pretty much understands that when you sit up there going, you know what I'm saying, you sit up there, you pull up to the damn, Foot Locker on 31st or something like that, and you see a security or something like that, or you pull up to, Family Dollar. We know what that's we know what that's about. I think what you're referring to is more of that, I think that space only kind of occupies itself within like cats who are rappers or cats who are out there moving within the streets of themselves. And a lot of times, for the most part, the citizens, like I said, unless they a rapper or some type of celebrity, ain't nobody gonna have security. So I don't think that's the problem.
Hey fellas, I gotta let y'all finish this conversation. I gotta run. I got a super early morning in the morning. We gotta finish. Or I'll add more value to the conversation after you within the comment thread on Facebook, so we can keep this dialogue going. Because I do want the community to chime in on this specific conversation and provide feedback. So I will start some dialogue on Facebook about this. But hey, y'all stay safe. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all need me. Y'all know where I'm at.
Lojo Speaks drop.
Y'all keep pushing. Y'all keep pushing what y'all doing, man. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all out here, so I'm here to provide any and all levels of support that y'all need, even though we don't live in the same damn vicinity. I'm here, you know what I'm saying, to support y'all, make sure y'all elevate. Just a real quick plug. I just want to throw this out there. August the 7th, Saturday, August the 7th, we're having a first annual Men and Boys Day at the park, because we have a mentoring gap in the melanated community, and we need to show our young men that there are black men out there that are about something and that are willing to take our wisdom and our knowledge and provide it to the next generation. So if you're able to attend, check out Lojo Speaks, Elevating Men, Mancology. The information will be everywhere very, very soon. So just kind of stay tuned for that information, fellas. Finish strong. Do what y'all do.
Hey, before you dip out,
yes.
Let me ask you one more thing. I
Yes.
wanted to ask you this. Do you think that Quinton Lucas himself, because a lot of people, because you still have to address the community, whether it was black, white, rich, poor, whatever, you got to address their concerns. Should Quinton Lucas, and I don't know if he's done this, but I haven't seen this, go out on a limb to actually have an understanding and actually outline what it is he plans on cutting, and have an understanding of how that'll affect the police operation within the city, and have that and make that transparent to the public.
He needs to be a transparent voice in the community. He needs to make sure that the people understand that this money is being removed and where the resources are going to be reallocated. And if there's any issues with how that money is reallocated, he needs to have an open door policy for anybody that wants to have a conversation, whether it's him or somebody on the staff. They need to have an open door policy to have a conversation about the reallocation of those funds. Absolutely.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Politicians, especially local politicians, should always be transparent. Always. Because federal ones ain't.
Always. Yeah, most definitely.
All right, fellas. Y'all be good. Take care. We will be in touch soon.
All right, bro. Well, I'll let you. So what was you saying? You said so you were saying security. Now, I don't even think, because even when you talking about security wouldn't even apply within this. Now, when you're talking about police, and a lot of times, when it comes to policing, a lot of things, if you wanted to apply it to, people and that whole stigma about police, it's murders and different stuff that gets solved, stuff that can, impact and actually make a change if people actually said, fuck all that, street politics and things like that, and actually, you see somebody and they in the middle of the park and they decide they want to shoot it up. Now, you do have cats who are scared to say something because they fear retaliation, but then you have those damn fools that, that they, I don't want to say nothing because, that's snitching.
Right.
That's snitching. So a lot of it is, mindset. But as far as security, that's more of a rap thing. That's more of a rap.
Well,
because stores are gonna have security, and many stores in the hood do have security, and they have it for that damn reason because they know shit is gonna go down. Shit's bound to go down, so they gonna have that there. They there and they strapped. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, like what I mean is not just the rappers or whatever. I'm not really talking about those. I'm talking about like the people who, certain people that have a certain following. You know what I mean? They might be flashy on the internet, this and that. So they will have security around them because people will test them. And especially if you bring that certain energy on the internet, people will expect you to have that same energy outside the internet.
But that still falls within that whole. You're speaking from a little more like celebrity type of sense. We're speaking on more of a real life, everyday basis. Not most 99.9% of the people that you're dealing with. Damn, Clippers kicking Utah's ass right now. 99.9% of the people that you're dealing with aren't even gonna move like that to begin with. The question is, see, when you're talking about security and having people, different things, like even if it's like at a school or, if you hire, whether it's you hire security or police. Now, security wouldn't necessarily fall into, I wouldn't fall into the city's police funds. But what you're referring to, like that's just a whole nother thing. Places are gonna have, whether it's police or like I said, or just a hired through a security service, they're gonna have those at your local supermarkets and different things like that. A person walking around with security, I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who's like that. I don't know anybody. There's nobody in Kansas City. Your top rapper in Kansas City doesn't have the money to make that happen on a day-to-day basis because of the amount that costs a lot. That costs a lot of money. Oh, but, outside of probably Tech 9, ain't nobody in Kansas City, you know what I'm saying? Nobody has that to begin with. So you even talking about, and I'm just talking about rapper, because you're talking about, entertainment, a person
entertainment,
a person who's a public figure.
Right.
Yeah, a public figure, even if you're talking about, the only person you would be talking about is Quinton Lucas. That's a whole nother discussion. See, what this is coming from is cutting down the police funds because of engagement with the community, and how this is going to affect the engagement with the community. Saying people get shot and different stuff like that. And this is how many people are looking at it, who are saying they want to cut down the police budget and they want to do this, that, and defund and get rid of this police officer. Well, those people are proponents of it because they see all the stuff that's happening in the news. Well, then you have the other side, you have different things that happen. A lot of it is, I'll say this, a lot of it comes from because there's no budget, and so you don't have the manpower. But then you have to be able to investigate and see how much of it comes from police just becoming stubborn all of a sudden. Because you do have to have manpower. There's a lot of shit that's going on. There's a lot of crime that's going on in these inner cities. But is it enough to the point to where you can't get, when the person's calling 911, you can't get that person out as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you have just sitting around? Which this is a problem in fucking Kansas City. I wouldn't say in Texas. A lot of people think Texas is just, as super strict, like it's not as strict in Texas. When you're talking about traffic tickets and police just sitting off to the side, yeah, it happens down here, but it ain't like Kansas City. In Kansas City, man, they all up and down the highway. They all up and they all up and around these corners. They waiting to catch somebody speeding. So how much of that is going into the budget, and how much money is being wasted into those officers who are worried about, those petty traffic tickets? It's not to say that, people who are violating the law and traffic, different stuff like that, don't deserve to be penalized, because you still got to have something. You got to have some order there. You have to have order there because, people die on the road. You can't be having people speeding. You can't have people sitting up there looking at their phone while they're driving. So you do have to have people that monitor that. But, it comes to a point on and shit. I may have to do the stats on that, which is a larger problem. I mean, shit, a traffic ticket or the murders and crime, the murders and robberies that's going on in the town. You know what I'm saying? And being able to have somebody and help these people, because you have people who are out here helpless, you know what I'm saying? And these people want that type of presence. They want the, contrary to what people think, there's a lot of people in the hood that want those cops around, because, you have all these conversations and they're talking about, like we talked about the Asian violence and different stuff like that. And what's the new one? Did you see the one where now in one town they're talking about violence against Latinos?
No.
Yeah, in one town they're talking about violence against Latinos, and they're all speaking out against it. And it was a lady, and they were going at the black police chief and the black mayor about it. Like, oh, you need to change this and this and that. And now they're being real careful on how they're saying it. But basically, and they did it within the Asian situation too. But basically what it is, this, they're trying to pin it on, black people are going out here assaulting, Asians and Latinos, the crime. And that's not what it is. They're not targeting people because they're race. It's just a symptom of something much larger. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of crime, but like I said, I was talking to my partner about this the other day, y'all don't care nothing about it when it's the, the black people, you just assuming everybody in the hood's up to no good. There's a lot of folks that, they're trying to make a living, just trying to go home, go do their job every day and get back to where they're going. And you got some nigga knocking them up over their head. And it's their own people. But but the whole public, the America, everybody, nobody's paying attention to that shit then. Nobody's paying attention when the old lady's getting their damn door kicked in and they robbing the, old black lady just sitting in her home. She been living in this damn same neighborhood for years. And now, just one day somebody come kicking in their door, come rob her. And then, of course, she ain't got no choice but to give up everything that she got. But then they decide to put a bullet in their head too. Oh, there's plenty of stories like that. They decide they're gonna put a bullet in their head. But nobody's giving a damn about them. Where's the, if they want to say anti-black. None of it is anti-Hispanic, none of it is anti-Asian, none of it is anti-black. It's just a symptom of the crime that's going on, of the mindset that's been created by the own federal government, whether people want to acknowledge that or not. It's like we always talk about, people have to have accountability for their own actions. Yeah. But this shit comes from somewhere. This shit, all of it comes from, it all comes from the place. It all stems from a beginning area. So, man, you don't get none of that, man. You don't get none of that. And stuff like this, people got to be able to understand, how much danger that puts these people in. Also, detective hours, people who are going in and investigating the different crimes and getting these people off the streets. like I said, and we talking about not just old people, it's young folks. They want to be able to call 911 or call something to come through and be able to clean up these streets. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they losing loved ones and stuff like that. Now you can decide you can have your own justice and have, you know, your own cousin go over there and kill so and so for what it is, but what does that typically do?
You got to lose 2 people, honestly.
Yeah, not even that, but it just keeps shit going. It just keeps a whole cycle of violence because all they seeing, you know, and we all believe that an uncle or whoever, a cousin, this and that, you know, they the greatest ever. And so you got a lot of people that love that person. And when they see that this person, you know, the person they looked up to got killed and they don't know what's behind it. And so now that, you know what I'm saying? That sets off something with them. And, you know, they become traumatized. They may not give a fuck about anything. Violence begets violence. Now, if you're able to get these people and have a society of people who are able to look at everything in an objective way. So now, objective as in saying, I understand if this dude's getting a bad shape, if he's not, what's happened to him is not fair, he's being prosecuted in a wrong manner, but all of this is going to be a public display. And you're going to lay out all of the evidence so you'll be able to say, okay, nah, he's fucked up. This dude killed that person in cold blood. This dude tried to rob that person. Person was just getting off of work. And here come this motherfucker robbing, you know, and they got the evidence. Or this motherfucker raped somebody. You know what I'm saying? Different stuff like that. It'll be able to be out in the public. So now, the person who looked up to Uncle, now they understand what's going on. And like I said, it's just, you got to be able, you can't look at everything in a rigid way. Police does have a way that they're supposed to operate, but also you have to get on their ass and you have to be consistent on getting on the ass when they do the wrong stuff. Right. What you saw, what did you see within this pandemic? What did you see within this pandemic when it came to police? I got the answer, but I'll see if you just having fun with it.
Okay, yeah, but besides the besides the whole George Floyd thing, you know what I mean, the defund the police, all that. Besides all that, a little bit after, you've seen some camaraderie with certain police forces with their communities. You've seen some of that, and like honestly, I think that's where the whole defund the police, and then reallocate some of their funds to different things started was during the George Floyd thing. But yeah, truthfully, that's what it was.
A lot of it started there when it's come to, you know, more mass fruition of, you know, having that conversation. But no, what I'm speaking about is the reception from the citizens. What you saw was, and this is from personal observation, what you saw was the people who don't like police. Now, when it became to stuff that was happening with the pandemic, now let's talk about like people having their, like I said, by law and by God's law, having access to their own personal property and stuff like that. You having people now who, you know, in layman's terms, hate the police and can't stand the police, but they'll applaud them within that instance. Because when you're applauding the mayor and saying, and you're taking the side of, you know, just like what a lot of people have a problem with Quinton Lucas with in this situation. And when you have a problem with the mayor, and a lot of black people are defending Quinton Lucas, but who exercises when Quinton Lucas wants to enforce something that he puts in place? Now let's say that we're shutting down these businesses and different stuff, but Quinton Lucas doesn't do that. Who's his enforcing arm when the person decides that they don't want to comply with that, which they have every right to, like we said, by law and by constitutional law that everybody talks about. By constitutional law, they're going to get the police officers to exercise that, and that's going to be their strong arm to go in and say, okay, you won't listen to that? Well, we're going to threaten you by force of a gun. Well, you had the people who don't like the police. Now all of a sudden they're applauding that. They're applauding that they're on the police side. And then you have the people who ass kiss the police no matter what, and sit up there talking about what were they saying when George Floyd died, bringing up his criminal history and stuff like that.
Yeah, bringing up his criminal history, talking about he was doing drugs. He was an adult star at a time, this and this and that. Yeah, with the usual things. Yeah, but now all of a sudden they hate police within this instance. They hate police, and so it just gets all it's all convoluted. It's all convoluted, and nobody's consistent. And then once it comes to this situation, now everybody reverts back to their original position. Right.
Now, you know, mainly black folks, a lot of, white liberals or whatever it may be. Now they, get rid of police, and then you have those conservative side is, oh, this is problem. A lot of those white folks on that side, oh, we got a problem with, now you're trying to get rid of our police. So, there's no real consistency on any of this, man. No real consistency.
Yeah, I mean, like, truthfully, I can't really, cause like y'all said, I'm not in the city no more. I barely talk to anybody. Well, besides like when I'm checking in on people, you know what I mean? I don't really check in on the city like that, but not too much anymore. So it's just like I truthfully can't give you guys a great perspective on Lucas. But hey, man, hey, Lauren said it perfectly, man. Truthfully. So
we gotta figure out something. But like I said, there's got to be something. When we've talked about it plenty of times before, there's got to be something that's an alternative. If you're gonna come up with getting rid of these different things and put people in the position, people shouldn't have to rely on police to begin with. We should be able to rely on ourselves. And if anything, police should just be a last resort. As far as cleaning up the community, we got to be able to be in a position where we can clean up our own streets when it comes down to it, because you can't trust everything. But when different things like this happens, have you ever heard of the Detroit 300?
No.
There's a group up there called the Detroit 300, a group of men, primarily black, some other races of folks in there too, but primarily black men that decided they were tired of everything, all the murder, everything that was going on within the community, and they decided they were going to start taking justice, basically a vigilante group.
Okay.
A vigilante group. It's almost like the movie 300, but you talk about 300 Batmen. 300 Batmans.
Yeah, kick ass. Yeah, the movie.
And they're gonna take justice within their own hands, and they're gonna start cleaning up their own community. And they were doing a damn good job. I'm talking about 300 men, man, because that's a big gang. That's a big gang, man. Because the majority,
I wouldn't even call them a gang. Because you use that word.
Oh, but that's just based off of. But a gang is a gang. You know what I'm saying? Within the actual definition of
300 group
of a gang, it's a gang. You know what I'm saying? A gang can be positive or negative. That's a big. You know what I'm saying? That's a big movement. That's a big organization.
Yeah.
It's a big gang right there. You know what I'm saying?
But that word has a bad stigmatization. That's
just the stigma. But I'm talking about within the actual proper context of.
Hey, I understand you, but
yeah. But it's big. But you even have to put it within that context, because when you're pairing it up, because of what you're going against, and you're going up against, not everybody is, they try to put the stigmas as if everybody, just a bunch of robbers, killers, and stealers, you know what I'm saying, in your inner city, and that's not what it is. Now it's too many, way too many than what it ever should be. You know, one is too many, but you know, the shit that's going on in these cities, man, it's real bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's an indoctrination, and you know, a lot of people are being, you know, young kids are being influenced into following this type of lifestyle. I mean, you got kids who even coming from great families, but you know, great families not guaranteed to guarantee that your kid, you know, comes out the right way, because you still got to walk outside.
That's that.
And if you still within that environment, and you still have different influences, they're gonna shape and mold you just as well.
Yep.
They're gonna shape and mold you just as well.
Yep.
So, but you know, but at the end of the day, it's still a minority. It's still a minority that's happening. It's only a few that's fucking it up for the many. That makes it, you know, unsafe for the many. But still, a few is all it takes. A few is enough. You know what I'm saying? To screw stuff up. You know, so when you got businesses and business owners who are trying to get stuff popping within the community, and then you got just some damn fool. It may not happen today, tomorrow, you know, a year down the line, but all it takes is 2 years, 5 years down the line to have some damn fool, you closing up, you know, your business that you wanted to start within the community. And here you got this fool, you know, you shutting everything down, and then some fool put the gun to your head. And then now, you know, your life's in his hands, and whether he decides you want to do what happens, you know, you want to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of that going on, but it's still a minority within that. Well, these fools is going around, I mean, not fools, but these men were going around taking care of that minority of folks, getting rid of the bad seeds and get rid of the, you know, handling stuff on their own, not waiting on the police. What happened was, what do you think happened with that?
I don't know, bro. Like, say,
let's take a guess. We just gonna play with it. We about to get done and wrap it up. But what do you think happened with this?
I don't know, because I don't like to guess.
I mean, just have fun. What do you think? The group disappeared. The group is gone. What do you think led to this group disappearing?
Oh, basically the law enforcement and other people were like, no, we don't like this, so you guys have to disband. Simple.
That's what you would think based off media narrative. But if you understand reality, you know what happened, right? And you're gonna know what happened as soon as I said it.
People got
you're gonna know what I said. You know this happens too.
Yeah, certain people get big headed and think they need to be the big wig.
Not even that. No, not even that. The mothers started complaining.
Of the group?
No, the mothers of the kids that they were getting.
Wow.
You know, the mamas who go up to the school and my baby ain't did nothing wrong and my baby's an angel and stuff like that. The mothers of the community came out against these men, the Detroit 300. And that backlash ended up just basically pushed them in away. It's like, we trying to, you know, get out the way so we can get to the root of things, but they gonna cover their babies no matter what, and their babies did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
the black mothers within that community,
and that's a whole nother can of worms right there. Truthfully, that's. But
it's a reality. It's a reality. So, but that's just what I'm bringing up these scenarios because you have to be able to, it's not just the quick solution, but you have to be able to create a base on these solutions to understand what way to move. And when you're talking about alternatives, like I said, we talk about this all the time, different alternatives. And there's stuff that, it's just about how you want to live, Now, if you don't want to change anything, you may think everything's good. You may think it's all right to have, 100 or hundreds of murders, let's say Kansas City, 150 murders in your city a year. I mean, if you think that's all right and that's a cool way to live, you know, that's on the community. But, you know, you can't get mad when you have certain, you know, when let's not even talk about corporations, but you have own people that don't want to get stuff going. Now, you still going to have folks that are still going to, you have, and not still, but you have folks that are contributing to the community and doing a lot of stuff and opening businesses. You having it all through the city, but you could have a lot more. I mean, we see every day, you know what I'm saying? Somebody get, you know, just some bullshit, somebody get killed or something, or, you know, somebody don't even want to deal with, you know, even take the chance because it's a high possibility that it's going to happen. Some bullshit's going to pop off. So I might as well take it out to move out to the suburbs or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have to deal with that because it's a high possibility the shit's going to go down eventually. Like I said, may not be today, tomorrow, not a year, but say about 5 years down the line, you know what I'm saying? You go get into some shit that you don't want to get into. That, you know what I'm saying? That could just
might not be all your fault. Yeah,
exactly. And so, you know, is this the way that people, you know, like I said, you can't force people to live how, you know, people gonna live how they want to live, but is this how you want to live? But there's consequences to every action that we take, and that's all that we're trying to get across. So there should be an understanding. This whole narrative of, you know, white people on one side and black people on one side, and, you know, like I said, the whole partisan thing, all that stuff. Let's not even bring in the partisan thing, but the white-black issue, and just thinking that, because you see a bunch of white people down at the station and they're mad about this, you know, it's just a bunch of racists. That's not what it is. But then also, you know, white people understand the same thing when you see, you know, a bunch of black people that's saying, hey, we want the police gone, and, you know, stuff like that. So there's got to be, there's a huge barrier and misunderstanding on both sides, and a lot of rigid thinking, and it has to be, you know, has to be thought about objectively. I ain't got nothing else on that, man. You got anything else, man, you want to add to that?
Nah.
All right, man. We done gone for a minute, man. We're gonna wrap this up, get on up out of here. Thanks for watching Word on the Half. Next week, I want to try to find some folks that can elaborate on this BlackRock situation. Have you heard about the BlackRock situation?
Mm-mm.
This company called BlackRock is probably the largest investing and asset management company in the world.
Yeah. What's going on with them?
They're buying up houses all across America. They're buying up whole entire subdivisions.
You know what that means?
They're buying up and they're buying it up. So you got people who are sitting up there bidding for it. Well,
and they get outbidded.
These people are, you bidding for this? Well, we'll give you this much higher.
It's called outbid.
We'll bid way, way, way higher than what these people are bidding. But not only that, they're federally funded. It's a federally funded organization too. So they have endless money to play with.
Okay, so if we're gonna do that, I also want to set up when my boy gets done with his book, there is something that's very, very interesting that I would like for him to speak about. I would like to for you guys to also to when it's done or whatever, to speak with him about a little town in Illinois. It is very, very interesting. Very interesting. But yeah. So if we're gonna talk about that BlackRock situation, yeah, I got something that's right down that alley.
Okay, we'll get it too. So we putting it out there. Anybody watching this, same here. If you know anybody, or if you want to have a large discussion about this, because the idea, we just want to figure out different ways that we can combat different things like this, because these are things that need to be combated. There needs to be an understanding that this is corporatism. This is not capitalism as you have a few people online saying it's not capitalism, this is corporatism. These are people working together. So you need to understand that this is what you're up against. This is what you're up against. You're up against the big dogs, and this is all part of that whole 2030. Like I was talking about all last year, and like they printed, like the UN had printed, where they talking about your own nothing, your own nothing. This is all part of, it falls in line. I'm not gonna say this is direct, but it falls direct in line with that whole entire agenda. You'll have motherfuckers not owning no houses, but putting their money into something that they can own themselves. Which for the most part, nobody ever owns nothing anyway, because when you factor in taxes on land, even after you have a house paid off, but now you're talking about just straight up renting from somebody. You'll be a damn tenant in this damn country forever.
So what I also add to that is, if you guys get a chance, I'm pretty sure I told y'all about this last year and probably early this year, but look up ISO 20022. You do that, and a lot of the stuff that I was talking about with cryptocurrencies and the new world order, well, the new green economy that they're pushing out, it's all in there. So yeah, just go ahead and take a look at that. That's all I got for real.
Good. I haven't heard of the ISO. I'm gonna take it. What was it again? ISO what again?
ISO 20022.
ISO 20022.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look into it. All right, you got anything you want to plug before we dip up out of here?
Nah, man. Thanks to everybody that's been rocking with us still. That's it.
All right, all good. Go check out
Oh, yeah. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe on Grit Culture. He's been putting out a bunch of good stuff man. So check my boy Corey out on Grit Culture, man. YouTube.
Yep. Check it out, man. Go there. Go ahead this stuff up, man. Go chop this down and have it on there. But yeah, join. This is bigger than entertainment. It's about coming together and trying to have solutions. Try to have solutions for folks. Create something solution based, especially within just within what they call black media, black entertainment. You just don't see enough. You have it out here. You have plenty of them, like homie A.L. Johnson, and other guys. You have some solution-based place, but it's media, but it's just not prominent. A lot of times they try to push celebrity stuff, and
they don't try to push
relationship type shit. You know what I'm saying? And, you want people to have understanding of this stuff, but there's a lot more out here that needs to be learned, and there's a lot of catching up that we got to do. Like I said, we sit at the bottom of the totem pole as a collective. If you want to categorize us as Black, African American, whatever it is, indigenous, whatever it is, we're at the bottom in median and average income here in America. So that's just something to take note of. Other than that, man, I ain't got nothing else. I don't want to hold everybody. We will holler at y'all later. Word on the app. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and we will holler at y'all later. Peace.